I know I cover this all the time, but if I did, I can reiterate and talk about it again, right? All right. So, first of all, as always, I want to thank those for listening, for tuning in. This is Blair, your Cancer Care Bear. No hair, don't care. All faith, no fear. And welcome to the vibe again, as you are in the podcast with me. When God is speaking to you, it's always wise and best to listen. I believe that discernment is definitely a gift to where sometimes we have to go through experiences, have to read about it, have to hear about it, but having discernment definitely is a gift from the Most High. So I first and foremost also wants to thank God for allowing me to have that discernment. A lot of times when we meet people, we're kind of standoffish because we got to kind of feel the vibe and try to really observe, which is a good thing as well. And again, I don't think everyone is going to get it right all the time, especially when they're meeting someone, whether it's from work, whether you're out partying, out at a social event. But one thing that I take pride in is my relationships with people. I try to be the best worker that I can be, the best friend that I can be, the best partner that I can be, the best father that I can be, just the best at whatever it is that I'm doing. And a lot of times that requires discernment. And if you need the definition for it now, we have the discernment of being able to grasp and comprehend what is obscure. An act of perceiving and discerning something. In other words, being able to judge well. And I do feel like I have a good judge of character. Those of you who know me always says the same thing, hey, you see the best in people, or Blair, man, you was built different. Like it's just because, not because I mean to be that way. I do want to see the best in people, and I do see the best in people. Again, it goes back to what I've been saying throughout all these episodes is grace, forgiveness, and understanding. So again, I'm not perfect. I have my flaws. I have my doubt. But it goes back again to being obedient. For me, being a God guy, I always listen to him. At times where I do feel like it is God and it's really not. So that's how much faith I have. And sometimes it can come off as naive, gullible, pushover, whatnot. But I have so much faith in God a lot of times that I might go ahead of him, if that makes sense. And the reason why I wanted to discuss this or address this is because, like, I'm openly to say, like, hey, I've been married, I've been divorced, I've been mingling, I've been doing things, right? And now we're in the era of social media where it's almost like relationships are determined on that. See, I didn't come up that way, but I'm only 34, so I come on that borderline of going to someone's house, knocking on the door, asking if they can come out. Going up to a girl and saying, "Hey, I like you. Can we be boyfriend and girlfriend?" Back then, I mean, just from my experience, it wasn't really about, "Hey, let me get to know you." I think it was all about, "Hey, I think you're cute. You think I'm cute. Hey, let's be boyfriend and girlfriend. We'll get to know each other, you know, as we go along." And I mean, that's not bad. That's not a bad thing, And as you're a child, you just kind of. It's more like I don't know. It was kind of like back then, when you're growing up as an adolescent, as a child. I mean, I don't really think people should, really have boyfriend and girlfriends up until they're able to at least drive. So maybe like what, 15, 16? Because there are certain responsibilities that comes with, being boyfriend and girlfriend and, relationships as far as that goes. And, it's kind of wild because me and one of my friends, we was actually having this conversation, a couple, like maybe a couple months ago, and we was talking about how, you know, the 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 chat lines and the MySpaces and the Black Planets and all that stuff, how that changed everything. You know what I'm saying? Because it allowed people to pretend. It opened the door for people to communicate outside of going outside. You know what I'm saying? I'm guilty. Like, I'm guilty of this. Like, I had a lot of online girlfriends that I was talking to on the phone. I was making plans. Say, hey, I can't wait. Like, I had a girlfriend that lived in Kansas. I think at the time I don't even think I had a license at the time. Like, I had a girl in North Carolina somewhere. I still haven't even been there, but it's kind of wild. It's like it was all these, just a lot of dream selling. But going back again to that discernment for me, I always been a lover. I used to make all these names up for myself, and people used to kind of my cousins used to always make and say, "Hey, where you come from?" Like AB Genie, a genie for the ladies, or something. ABG, a genie for the ladies, or even when I do my love songs, or when I do my writing, KP Charming or whatnot. Like, I always, because it's just pretty much about getting in the zone. Really building and creating, a different type of vibe when it comes to that. But, in hindsight and retrospect, in this day and age, as I got older, that love, that accountability and responsibility that I used to have as a younger guy, a younger man, it is really coming into fruition now. So it's like, be careful who you pretend to be, because you are who you pretend to be. And even back then, I was who I was. I mean, I always kind of wanted to have a relationship, and I ended up married. It didn't work out. Wanted a child. I have a son now, but it falls on the lines. But today is the day that I come and admit that I am full aware and fully responsible and fully accountable for who I am today as an individual. I know exactly what I want. I know the type of woman that I want. I know the type of family that I want. I know the type of responsibilities that I want, and I am willing to really like put it all on the line. But it can't go without discernment, because again, being an '80s baby, growing up in the '90s, we, coming up, you know, on R. Kelly, Usher, Destiny's Child, Mary J. Blige, even L. Cool J and Ja Rule and the 50 Cents and all these guys who make songs, you know, that is about relationships or even partnerships. Like, I know. And it's like, for me, what I want, and again, I go back to my earlier episodes, my podcast episodes before this podcast, and I say that I want a wife, I want a family, I want to build, I want to continue. Because the thing about it is, one thing about me is, I keep my ears high up to God, but I also keep it close to my heart. I keep my hands up to God, but also keep it close to my heart. And I wear my heart on my sleeve, like for real. It's almost like I have my heart right here and open for it to be taken. But the reason why I brought up, the social media and MySpace and all these old chat lines is because now it has transcended so far much of that. Again, you can have a relationship almost without showing people or telling people, like, you have people in their 30s and 40s saying, Lil Durk and what's her name, India Royale, as relationship goals. You have people who are still kind of struggling with themselves, talking about relationship goals. And because I remember when Will and Jada was relationship goals, this was like forever. Will and Jada, this is like before the Obamas, and even when we was talking about Oprah and Stedman and stuff. But it's like now it's almost like, yeah, they need to just go ahead and cut the losses. But you see what I'm saying? People will look at these celebrities and think that their relationship goals, when they don't know really nothing about what's going on. They see an image. But see, the thing is, I don't want a image. It's a blessing that you can be an inspiration to people and show people, like, hey, be an example of how relationships should be. But to me, it's like, hey, I don't care. I just want to, have my family and just live my life and be the best that I can be. Because you got to think about back when I was coming up, we didn't have social media like this, and even the internet, like, it's almost like your dad or your parent or whoever was there would go to work, and you don't see or talk to them until 10 hours later when they come home or something. And y'all would talk about it. There used to be family dinners. There used to be like real outings. And yeah, there's some people that still express that. Shout out to DJ Envy and his wife Gia, who is a good example, good positive example of what family does look like and how family does do things. As far as they still go out, they still, have that family element where they do things together. Nowadays, you might just have one person, might have a single parent, mom or something. She'll be out here working. The kid is at grandma's house or babysitter's house, and then, then they're out clubbing or something. But see, that's what social media does. But there's a lot more better examples than that but we just don't see it. They don't promote it. And that's another thing about what In the Blair podcast is about, because I do want to change the narrative, and everybody needs to consider this. Because, like I said, I was doing, I've been on these dating apps, and just recently, like, I started talking to someone. Not to say anything is exclusive or official, but I'm like, thank you, God. I hope that this is it. So I didn't found what I was looking for, found what I needed, found what I want. And that's where the discernment comes in. Everything has to match. Like, what you think, what you feel, and what you know have to align. It's like your mind, body, spirit, and all that. So all that has to align to me. So the only thing that I wanted to discuss was that. So my question to all of you listening, please, again, feel free to send that email, send that comment, share, whatever it is, contact me. I'm reachable. Is how do you know when God is speaking to you? What type of discernments do you deal with? And like I said, it doesn't have to be about relationships, but it can be about anything else. Because to me, like, I just feel, like I'm at a point in my life now where, like, if I was ever playing games at any time, I'm not anymore. But that's if I was, because I never was. I don't play games like that, but it's like I never felt so much discernment in my life. And the crazy thing about it is, I just spoke with my dad about this, and it's like, yes, sometimes we can think that God is speaking to us. And maybe a lot of times it is. Anything great, anything positive, anything good is from God, is of God. So we do have to use wisdom. But having that discernment is almost like when you ask God for something and he don't respond or he don't answer, that's an answer. Sometimes that can mean wait. Sometimes that can mean have faith. But then when you do hear him talking to you, you can't sit here and be like, but this, but that. No. You ask God for something and then he gives it to you. Why should you sit here and then wait? So it doesn't matter how soon something is. It doesn't matter how slow something is. It doesn't matter where it's at. Like, you can live in the crappy, like, you can live in the street. You can be eating out the dumpster. You can have no money. But if you sit there and trust and believe that one day you're going to overcome that, and then God, and you pray to God, and then he says, this is what I want you to do. I want you to go here, or I want you to do this. You can question and ask, like, okay, are you sure or something? But you can't sit here and think about the circumstance like, well, I don't have any money, or where, like, how am I going to get there? Like, if God tells you something and speaks something to you, you have to do it. Like, I have 100% faith in God. Like, I have a job that I'm not going to be at forever, but I always pray and say, God, if there's something better for me, please lead me. So whether that's me having to put in applications, whether that's me having to stay long and just kind of build more character, because believe it or not, certain things, certain responsibilities that we have is just for us to be, is just to build up for something greater. So the goal is, and the understanding I want y'all to have, and discernment that I want y'all to have is, rejection is the key. So whether you're looking for, like, whether it's a job that you really, really want and you're rejected, trust me, something else is there. That's going to open the door. If you're interested in someone and you're rejected, trust me, something else is going to come. Something better. Something that you deserve. Something that you need. You have to decide for yourself what you deserve. You have your expectations, what we have to set for everything. We have to set our expectations and standards. And so what if they say, we shouldn't have expectations? We should definitely have those expectations. We definitely should. And I can come off preachy sometimes, but I don't. At this point, I don't really care, because I have to be insightful and encourage everyone and remind people and reassure them that thoughts become things. You have to be positive despite everything that goes on. There's power in the tongue. I hear people always talking about, good morning and grand rising, and it's like you can't say like morning and morning is two different things, but I'll get into that another time. My whole point is being able to judge well. If there's something or someone you like, if there's someone or something that you want, what do you do? Now, I'm not sitting here talking about manifesting people. I'm not sitting here talking about going after something or someone that somebody else has. That is a whole totally different thing. Because I do feel like positions also is a matter of facts. So if you're out here desiring and lusting and trying to get with somebody else's husband, somebody else's wife, I say you probably need to go back to God again. And yes, there are some relationships that are probably not going to work out, but if this person is currently in a relationship, then you have to respect that this person is probably faithful in doing things. Because take it from me, I've experienced that. But I never felt more clear. And another thing, when it comes to certain relationships, romantic relationships, is a lot of people believe that it's like it has to, things. I mean, yes, things, we have to be equally yoked, but there is this narrative that marriage is a business. Maybe in America and in some countries, but there is marriage and relationships that do make sense. They have to make sense. And that's why I say discernment. If you're looking for someone who don't want to get married but you want to get married, I mean, like, again, it can happen, but there's times where you have to really look. Because like I always say, God will show us something that the other person won't see yet. But all in all, blessed ones, as I say, what do you do about your discernment? If there's something that you want, something that you desire, what do you do about it? I always say to stay safe, stay proud, stay positive, stay productive. And yes, we have to do that. But today, what I want you to do is stay prayed up. We will not always see things the way that other people see things. Have that discernment and understanding. Judge well. Because yes, we do have to judge. We just can't misjudge. Thank you for listening.